Did you know that many women involved in secret relationships unintentionally reveal parts of their hidden lives through the words they use? In this video, we'll discuss 5 phrases that are often heard from women who are being unfaithful. These expressions may completely change the way you look at relationships. If you're currently in a relationship, this information may help you recognize warning signs that you've overlooked before. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment "I noticed" below so I know you're watching until the end. Before we get to the first phrase, there's one important thing to understand. Infidelity rarely happens overnight. It is often the result of complex psychological processes. The way people speak can sometimes reveal what's happening beneath the surface of their minds. When someone is living 2 relationships at the same time, their mind constantly tries to balance 2 different realities. On one side is their official relationship, and on the other is the hidden one they are trying to keep secret. Psychologists often describe this as mental overload, and it can cause certain words or expressions to slip out without intention. Have you ever noticed your partner saying things that sounded unusual or different from the way she normally speaks? Stay until the end, because what you're about to hear may change the way you interpret certain behaviors. The first phrase is, "I feel like you don't really understand me anymore," or "You don't know me the way you used to." These words may sound emotional, but they can sometimes carry a deeper meaning. In certain situations, she may already feel that someone else understands her better on an emotional level. Without realizing it, she starts comparing her current relationship with another connection that feels more satisfying. From a psychological perspective, this can also become a form of self-justification. If she convinces herself that her partner no longer understands her, seeking comfort or attention from someone else becomes easier to justify in her own mind. As a result, you may start blaming yourself, even though the reality could be much more complicated. But wait, because the second phrase may reveal even more. The second phrase is, "I need some space," or "I just need some time for myself." Wanting personal space is completely normal. However, if this phrase is repeated frequently by someone hiding another relationship, the goal may not be to stay away from everyone. Instead, it may simply be about creating more time away from you. On the surface, it sounds like a healthy request. But in some situations, that space may actually be used to communicate or spend time with someone else. Pay close attention to her behavior. If she says she wants to be alone but remains very active on social media, goes out frequently, meets friends, and stays socially engaged, then perhaps what has changed isn't her need for solitude. It's her closeness to you. People who genuinely need personal space usually spend that time reflecting, healing emotionally, or working on themselves. But when another emotional connection exists, their enthusiasm for social interaction often remains the same, while their partner is simply no longer included. Also, pay attention to when these requests appear. They often come shortly after moments of emotional closeness. In some cases, feelings of guilt may lead someone to create temporary distance as a way of reducing inner emotional pressure. Let's move to the third phrase, which often sounds perfectly reasonable, but can sometimes carry a hidden message. The third phrase is, "This isn't about you," or "It has nothing to do with you." You'll often hear this when you notice changes in her behavior and try to understand what's going on. Instead of receiving a clear explanation, you're simply told that it doesn't involve you. In close relationships, emotional changes usually affect both partners. That's why repeatedly hearing that it's not about you can sometimes be a way of avoiding a conversation that someone doesn't want to have. Many men don't realize that this phrase may appear alongside other changes, such as becoming emotionally distant, less affectionate, or noticeably different than before. From a psychological point of view, some people even believe they're protecting their partner from pain, while in reality, they leave them feeling more confused. The fourth phrase is, "I'm going through a difficult time," or "I have a lot on my mind." This is one of the most common explanations because it sounds reasonable and naturally invites sympathy. Most people stop asking questions after hearing it. However, there's an important difference. Someone who is genuinely struggling usually turns to their partner for support. But if this explanation is followed by increasing emotional distance, secrecy, and less communication, it's worth paying attention. Also notice whether new routines suddenly appear, schedules begin to change, or activities become part of her life that never existed before. Emotional or physical affairs require time, attention, and energy, and that time often comes from the primary relationship. That's why "I'm going through a difficult time" can sometimes become an effective way to hide the real reason behind changing behavior. Now, we're approaching the fifth and final phrase, which many people consider the strongest warning sign. By the time this expression begins appearing regularly, there are often several other behavioral changes that become much easier to recognize. In the next part, we'll reveal the final phrase, explain the psychology behind it, and discuss why so many people only understand its meaning when it's already too late.